Welcome to Veterans of the North, a DAV of Minnesota podcast. In each episode, we honor disabled veterans and their families by sharing powerful stories, highlighting essential programs, and lifting up the voices of those who have served. Now, let's join today's conversation.
Yeah, I was actually born in Hutchinson. We had a farm out north of Stewart, Minnesota. That's where I grew up most of my life.
Big town of Stewart?
Yeah.
Yeah, still a city kid, but that's all right.
No, cool. I was out in the country.
Yeah.
4 miles at least.
Okay. Is that a small school? Do they have a country school there? Or?
They had a school in town. In fact, my close friend John Eisen owns the Valley. He bought it when they closed the district down. And he uses it for that food for kids back in Korea.
Yeah, okay. So all right. So you're growing up out there in the country. Sports involved? Or?
Yeah, I played football until I was a sophomore in high school when I switched over to wrestling because I had a couple of cousins that thought I'd be a better wrestler than a football player. They're probably right.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll go to the end of your high school career. As Vietnam started, where are you at in the timeline?
Well, Vietnam started. I didn't pay much attention to it. Nobody didn't back in the early days. And I just till I got put in service, I didn't realize Vietnam existed.
Okay. You end up drafted, or do you join before they can draft? How
Well,
do you end up in the service.
The court volunteered me to get in trouble. So back in them days, they didn't put you in reform school or in jail. They said you can either go to the army or do this. And so I said, well, can't be that bad. I was wrong.
Yeah. Hard to imagine a young military trouble, but I guess it could happen. All right, so you get the army or jail? Is that
Yep, that's it.
The judge gives you?
Yeah.
And you chose the army?
I chose the army.
All right. You leave here, or do you go do your initial training?
Well, I went from here to Fort Campbell, Kentucky for basic.
Okay.
Then I went from Fort Campbell to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for AIT artillery. Then I was real intelligent at the time. I thought if I volunteer for all the training I qualified for, the board's got in, can't keep going on.
Yeah, yep.
So that didn't work here. But
so you volunteer for additional?
Yeah, I volunteered as a Army Ranger, basically.
Okay.
Troop,
Yeah.
But I went from Fort Sill back to Fort Campbell for airborne.
Yep.
Then I went from Fort Campbell to Fort Bragg. I don't know if you can call it.
Yeah. I think it's back to Bragg.
I went to Fort Bragg, and then I went.
Now it's named after a private instead of a general.
No,
That's but it's Bragg.
And then I went from there to Fort Walters, Texas. The Army, in their infinite wisdom, taught us how to start up and fly small aircraft and helicopters.
Okay.
But they didn't want to take 6 months to train you how to land, so they just said, that's good enough. You need to get out of hot areas, take the chopper or the plane and do a controlled crash. So you got never had been with a controlled crash.
So they teach you how to take off and kind of how to fly.
Yeah.
But then they're like, we're done.
We can waste it more time.
Landing is the hard part. You'll figure that out. Gravity's got you if nothing else does.
They said you need to get out of an hot area and just do a controlled crash.
Okay. So is this special operations training?
Yep.
Okay. So that's what's taking you to all these different...
Yeah, that's what kept me in the States for 11 and a half months.
Okay. 11 and a half months of training.
So the war didn't end, so I had to go anyway.
Okay.
But at least I was a lot better trained than I would have been as this draftee,
Are these schools open to you because you had joined,
Well, they were open to me because I qualified.
Yeah.
Evidently, I scored high enough on all the tests.
Okay.
To give me your.
Yeah.
And I suppose physically I was in the best shape. I got out of training.
Yeah.
Not when I went in.
So you've done the special training. You've learned how to take off, not land. What are you headed over to do? Do you know what your orders are? Do they tell you what unit you're going to?
No, everybody went over by themselves back then. Yeah. I had no idea where I was going to go, what I was going to do. It was kind of ironic because a kid that got in trouble with me, that got put in the Army the same time I did.
Yeah.
He just went the basic AIT route. And I walked into the supply room at Benoit to get my gear issued, and there was Schmierbach, their buddy.
Okay.
He was a supply sergeant there.
He's short timing though, right? He's almost done.
Yeah, he only had 7 months left.
Okay.
So he looked at my orders and he said, I hate to tell you this, but you're screwed. Where you're going, the life expectancy is about 2 days.
Okay.
I said, well, thanks for the vote of confidence.
Yeah.
So he issued me my gear, everything but a gun. I never got a weapon.
Okay.
No, I shouldn't say gun because they don't train.
No, the field artillery. Yeah.
But
field artillery guys, you know what a gun equals.
yeah. But then I got sent out to Dao Tiang, to headquarters battalion out there, and I actually Dao Tiang probably got rocketed every day of the week.
Okay.
The whole time I was over there,
Yeah.
we took rockets or mortars. They had that place just zeroed in.
Yeah.
They fired them from Michelin rubber plantation, so you can never find
Where they
where they were.
Yeah. Yeah.
But me and a guy, I guess you call him a newbie, we're on a C-123 that were dropping belts of ammunition off at Dao Tiang. So they landed, turned around, opened the back door, pulled the thing out, the ammo out, threw me and the other guy out. We're standing at the end of the runway, and there's ammo pallets falling down on us from where the depot got blown up from the rocket.
Okay.
So they were under
active attack.
yeah.
Okay.
And we're standing at the end of the runway going, well, how do we do? Yeah.
He still didn't have an army guy gun.
Yeah, didn't have a weapon, nothing.
Yeah.
So finally, the Jeep comes by and picks us up, takes us down to battalion headquarters, and then that's when I found out that I was going to get shuffled off to the 36th, actually the 9th Army Marines first.
Okay.
They put me as the lone man, the F knew that,
Yeah.
on the team, 6-man team, and I was the RTO, and they sent me and the other 5 guys out with this 9th Army Marine unit, and they were very good.
So the 9th Army, that's a Vietnamese unit?
Yeah, Vietnamese Marine.
Okay, so are you serving as an advisor?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a 6-man team. Each one of us was trained in something different. Me and the first lieutenant, or not the first, but the second lieutenant were artillery,
Okay.
but everybody else was trained in some other facet there.
Yeah.
We had a major, a captain, the second lieutenant, 2 E7s, and then me.
Okay.
So we got sent up to by Bambi to it with the 9th Army Marines, and then after about 2 weeks of about 25% of them taking off, we got in heavy combat. Then they thought, well, they evidently are trained well enough, so we'll have to disband these, put them in other units. That's when we got shuffled over to the 36th Army Rangers, and other than the leadership, the average grunt was 15, 16 years old,
Okay.
who had lost in summer most of their family in a Tet Offensive of 68.
Yeah.
And we lied.
Yeah.
So they were a pretty gruesome bunch.
Yeah. Are they better trained?
So, well, I don't know if they were better trained, but they had
They're meaner.
yeah, they weren't, they feared nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a better group to work with?
Yeah, I got the same attitude after about 2 weeks to it. Well, you get that attitude, well, what's the difference if I die today or I die tomorrow?
Yeah.
Everyone said,
Yeah.
so you might as well give her hell. We get.
A little bit of that recklessness.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I got assigned a kid, 16-year-old kid, kind of was my bodyguard, I guess you'd call him.
Yeah.
If I went in the jungle to take a crap, he went with me.
Yeah.
Didn't like me, but he went with me.
Yeah.
But he could speak 5 languages, or 6 languages, and write 5.
Wow.
Chinese was the only one he didn't have mastered yet because he said there's too many symbols in there.
Yeah.
So he was not only my interpreter, he was also my kind of like bodyguard.
Personal security guy.
Well, if they lost one of us, they lost an integral part of the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So are you still advising on artillery, or are you advising on base?
no, I'm just being the guy that packs all the garbage, the maps,
Yeah.
the radio, all the good stuff.
Okay.
I'm the workhorse
Yep.
of the team.
Okay.
Until the second lieutenant got hit, and that was like 2 weeks out.
Okay.
So they didn't replace him, so I took on his duties and my duties.
Okay.
So I not only packed the radio and the maps, I had to figure out where we were. I had to call in the artillery, air support whenever we needed it,
Yeah.
and which in the long run worked out well because you always gave your initials for clearance, target clearance. You had that kind of a call sign, I guess to call, so they knew it was you and not somebody else.
Yeah.
And my name was Other Martin, but growing up I always went by Marty, so I used Mike Oscar Mike, so everybody knew his mother along the border.
Yeah.
So I was pretty popular, when I called in.
So are you operating on the border with?
Cambodia and Laos,
Okay.
Yeah.
U.S. side?
Both sides.
Both sides. So yeah.
The U.S. side, we were supposed to stay on the U.S. side because the U.S. choppers wouldn't cross the border.
Yeah.
I think they did at times, but they weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
But we had all Australian air support and artillery, and they didn't care.
Yeah.
Those boys were not as reckless as the Rangers were.
So are you getting sent across the border, or is it just whatever the mission tempo takes you?
Yeah, usually when we went across, it was like a 10-day mission. We'd cross over up north, west of Amituit, walk the Ho Chi Minh Trail down to the Delta, and then come back over.
Okay.
Cambodian.
Yeah.
Then we, set up ambush patrols and whatever. What we normally did is we would move in the morning
Yeah.
and then try and sleep from noon until dark, which was the hottest and worst part of the day to try and sleep.
Yeah.
And then all night we'd be up with patrols, and we'd usually split up by platoons. We'd figure our area of fire, and so you'd have one on this side of the trail, one on this side. Made sure you didn't shoot
Yeah.
just your 1-8.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you hit your other people.
So you're trying to disrupt the traffic on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, basically. This is the trail system that is supplying ammunition to the North Vietnamese, to the guerrilla fighters, the Con, and it doesn't respect the border, right? It's operating. We know it's coming through Cambodia, through Laos, and then distribution lines in. But I think for a long time it was a secret. It was a secret that we were operating cross border, even if it was a known secret.
But yeah, what happened was.
Well, let me back up just a little bit. So you're disrupting the traffic on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. We know they're using those supply lines. We know they're coming through Cambodia, Laos. They're coming back in. But for a long time, our operations on the other side of the border, they're secret, right? We're not admitting to.
Yeah, there was. I think up until 1970, they didn't acknowledge we were over there at all, and I know there was people over there way before me.
And well, now we know, and especially in Minnesota, because we get a lot of the refugees from Laos after the war, that the CIA is operating in Laos, has bases in Laos, is recruiting, training, deploying special guerrilla units from that side of the border. So the operations were pretty complex there.
And the thing is, when I went with the team, way back when we were 9th Marines, we had a side of statement if we got killed or captured across the border, we just were MIA.
Okay.
I mean, we wore no dog tags, wore no uniforms. We carried no military weaponry. I carried a Belgian 12-gauge pump shotgun.
Okay. All right.
Which worked out nice because usually when we were in combat, it was close. So
is that one of the ones that fired every time you closed the breech?
Yep.
So it just
trigger mechanism.
Yep.
File up. And it had 10-round clips, and of course I packed 200 rounds, which weighed more than my radio.
Yeah. That's a lot of shells.
Yeah. But if you knock somebody down, they stay down.
Yep, absolutely. So you're operating independently, semi-independently,
Yep.
right? At least for long stretches while you're out there.
Usually we would go out 10, 12 days at a time, unless 3 times during my 4.5 months. After 4.5 months, I got hit the second time and they medevac me out of it. But usually I shouldn't say usually, but I mean 3 times during that 4.5 months, we did what they called surgical extraction. I have no idea where the military got these
The term, yeah.
the terms, but it meant that the 6 of us had to go across the border. They wouldn't fly us over there. We had to walk in.
Okay.
And then we had to do basically a public assassination of somebody that was equal to a county commissioner. It wasn't even like a senator.
Yeah.
It was just a local politician.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'd always have to do it at a public event. We couldn't just go in, slit the throat at night, sleeping.
Yeah.
We had to do it and then get back out of there ourselves.
Okay. So they give you a target. Is this in Vietnam?
No,
Or
it's
is
in Cambodia. Laos.
Laos. Okay. And so there's somebody who's supporting the Viet Cong or something locally, and they need to be dispatched in a way that lets people know not to do that.
That's why it was just crazy. It always had to be public. I mean,
Yeah.
and the 2 sergeants and the captain, we were all sniper qualified, but the 2 E7s and the captain they were really proficient.
Okay.
They had their time shots down.
Yeah.
Because we had 51 caliber Russian saber rifles with silencers that were about this long.
Okay.
And frag pod.
Yeah.
The gun was about 7 feet long when it was put together. And the cartridge was about this big.
Yeah.
An artillery shell.
Yeah.
And they would do timed shots where they would hit the person and they'd drop straight down.
Yeah.
The impact of the shell didn't even waffle them, and just poof.
Just collapsing.
And a lot of times, in the heat, people thought he, faded or something.
Yeah.
I can go over there and he was gone for about a year out.
Yeah. That the 51 caliber. That's It's not a secret at all. That's a public thing.
And then, of course, the other 3 of us we had to make sure we had an escape avenue.
Yeah. Yep.
And so we had to make sure we had a clear corridor. Of course, we're 1,000 yards away.
Yep.
So we got that advantage. But by the time they figured out it was an assassination, we were already halfway across the border.
Yeah. So using that border hopping to their advantage.
But one time we got kind of caught up. We walked into at least a battalion-sized force of NBA.
Okay.
There's 6 of us. So
Yeah.
we got a prayer now getting out of that. But I had 2 Aussie pilots that ran a Cobra gunship that I never met the guys. I had no idea what their name was, but I knew their call center.
Yeah.
So we got in heavy stuff. I called them
Yeah.
because they had no qualms about crossing the border. They came in, lit the jungle up, and caused enough confusion for us to get back.
Be able to slip out. So actually, in that case, the small team works to your advantage.
Yeah.
Right? You can get a good gunship to create some confusion in the enemy. Yeah. You can slip out with 6 better than you can with 50.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it happened on one side of the 3.
Yeah.
We did.
Okay. And then the rest of the time you're working with the Vietnamese, right?
Well, for 4.5 months, I got hit once in the field, and I took a bamboo sling eventually to the face, but luckily I hit my radio because I carried my radio from my chest because it always got tangled up in the bamboo and the undergrowth.
Yeah.
I carried it there, and that saved me because the Vietnamese troop in front of me tripped it. They cleared him and hit me right in the chest.
Oh, right in the radio.
And they put a dent about the size of 57 feet so the radio up.
Yeah.
And then it shattered and went up, broke my nose and fractured my skull and put a bunch of bamboo spikes or slippers.
Well, this is a booby trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to take a fresh bamboo sprout.
Yeah.
Then they would lash a sharpened bamboo stake to it and put fecal matter on it.
Yeah.
And they had it, set so it would hit you about chest high.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
what
what
took-
initially kill you.
That's what took you to second lieutenant. Though.
Okay.
It's one of those. Yeah.
So pretty low tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no explosives involved.
No.
They said that bamboo sling hit you at about 120 miles an hour.
Gee.
It was a force knocked me completely backwards.
How could
It
they?
knocked me out. I was out for, I don't know how long.
Yeah.
By the time I woke up, the medic had me all stitched up and put axle grease over the skull fracture. And
Yeah.
once I got stabilized where I could walk, they said, we got another 9 days to go, boys. Let's go.
So this one is not the one that keep.
No.
You end up wounded again.
Yeah.
4.5 months into this time.
Yeah, this was about a month, maybe a month into my tour.
Okay. And then so we come reporting later, but you're out in the middle of nowhere. You're treated there on the battlefield. I don't know where you're at, if you're in Vietnam or in
Well, we were in Vietnam at the time.
yeah. So yeah, and you're not quite sure. So yeah, no matter you dressed, what happens if you're captured or killed when you're across the border like that. So then you're wounded a second time.
Yeah, it was one of us Americans. When we didn't have any critical missions,
Yeah.
would go back to the closest LZ or fire support base or whatever with 50 of the Vietnamese troops
Yeah.
and work resupply for the guys in the field, try to get them water. We were supposed to get liver rations, but we got rice like the rest of them. So
Yeah.
I lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Eat rice. And then we, whatever else we could harvest snakes. And
And that literally a snake eater.
I actually shot an elephant once.
How I was an elephant.
That's not good.
It's not good.
It's the meat is it could be because we didn't know how to compare it.
Yeah.
The meat was like jello,
Blubbery.
no,
Yeah. That's what I would imagine.
the flavor wasn't bad, but the texture I couldn't eat it. And of course, if we got to an area with the river, we harvested clams. We shot all the crocodiles. They were good. That was like steak.
Yeah. So we're going to come back to your medevac, but before we do, you've spent 4.5 months with this Vietnamese, their ranger outfit, right? And how does that relationship develop? Do you develop a trust and respect? Is it adversarial? How does that relationship, you're in the shit with, these people from Vietnam, with the Vietnamese Rangers. How does that relationship look, that ally work?
Well, when we were with the 9th Armored Marines, I slept with one eye.
Yes.
I didn't trust them.
Yeah.
But once I got with the 36th Armored Rangers after a couple of days, those guys said, I had their back, they had my back. I never worried about it again.
Yeah. So bond for it.
Oh, yeah. And then I tried years later when I got back to find out what happened to Newton Chow, the guy that I was my interpreter.
Yeah.
I don't know what some good fight.
Yeah.
I don't know if he made it through, or if he got killed during the war.
Yeah.
Ended up in one of those repatriated camps, read up the States.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be an interesting story to find out.
Yeah.
So, second injury happens, and your medevac back to where?
A Vietnamese hospital at Ho Chi.
Okay.
Because I was in the Vietnamese system.
Yep.
I didn't go to the U.S. hospital, I went to the Vietnamese.
Okay.
Because actually, back when I first took the bamboo sling to the face and knocked out his 4 teeth in front too.
Okay.
And all my teeth are, my roots are all attached to my jawbone. So when I got back into Ho Chi, I went to the Vietnamese dentist there and he actually pinned my original teeth back in.
Oh, okay.
And it lasted for 50 years.
Wow.
And 3 of the teeth were pinned in with gold pins. And he didn't have any more gold pins, so he put in one with a piece of paper clip. And that lasted just 1.
Wow. Wow. While you're out there, so before your medevac back, the command structure is loose, right? I mean,
yeah, well, we had a major, and like I said, we never used names.
yeah. Yeah.
So I don't even know what their names, their other names were.
Yeah.
F and G.
Yeah. Yeah. You were the
New guy.
G. Yeah.
And we had the 2E7s. One was from Kansas City, Missouri. One from Kansas City, Kansas. So we called Kansas and Missouri. Captain was from Texas.
Yeah.
The second lieutenant was from Pennsylvania, and the major was from Iowa. So
Okay.
we didn't use names; we just used states.
Yeah.
Except for me.
Had they been there a long time?
Well, the major was on his third tour there in '68, in '69.
Yeah.
And the captain was on his second, and so was the 2E7s. The second lieutenant was on his first tour with me.
Yeah. So these guys are coming back. They're
Well, the 2E7s, they enjoyed it.
yeah. Yeah.
I found out later that they wouldn't let them go back anymore. They put her in the supposed training battalions in the States.
Yeah.
And they both ended up dying in car accidents.
Yeah. They got addicted to it. You hear about that.
Yeah.
You get addicted to
those two out of the team enjoyed what they were doing.
Yeah. Huh.
And the more gruesome, the better.
Yeah. Probably should have let them stay there doing that.
Yeah. Exactly. Because they were good at their jobs.
Yeah. Or let the CIA pick them up or somebody.
Yeah. And the major, he was, typical Iowa boy. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
And the captain from Texas, he, other than being 6'6", kind of stuck out. But he was a good old boy.
Yeah. So you're medevac back to a Vietnamese hospital. What happens from there? You're not sent back out.
I spent about, 3-4 weeks in there.
Okay.
And I was out for the first, I suppose, 3 days. I don't recall anything.
How were you injured the second time?
Well, it was my first time back in a secure area.
Yeah.
So I had my hammock hanging from the mess hall tent.
Yep.
And at 3 o'clock in the morning, they sent one of those Russian bungalow torpedoes through to rip the wire out.
Yep.
So they could come in. Well, they were made, for multiple strands, fences and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we had like 3 rows of Constantino wire around LZ Grant. It was like maybe a 5-acre compound with 5 bunkers, no lights.
Yeah.
And they fired that thing and it hit the berm line, hit the mess hall tent, everything blew up. My first recollection is I was running, I didn't know where I was running to. So I don't know if I got blown up on my feet or I just got blown on the ground.
You got back up and you're running.
Yeah, and so somebody fired a boom round by one of the bunkers, so I thought, well, I'll run to that.
Yeah.
But when I got there, that's when I realized my whole left arm was jumped. I mean, it was so big to say.
Yeah.
And I got, my weapon was hanging from the top of my hammock, along with my radio. That's what took most of the shrapnel, luckily.
That radio.
Yeah, saved me. And I got to the base, and with the loom round coming down, and I seen the M16 there. I picked it up. I looked up, and I swear, company of Vietnamese or couple.
Yeah.
So I dumped the 20-round clip, and luckily the first ones fell on top of me.
Okay.
And the rest went over me.
Yep.
So from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, I laid underneath there. I was out most of the time.
Yeah.
And luckily, the bodies that fell on me kind of stopped the bleeding because my whole back was shredded, the whole left side.
Shrapnel arm. Yeah.
And so it's luckily I didn't bleed out because the bodies compressed it enough.
Yeah.
So at 6 o'clock, when things got light and we got the gunships in and re-secured the base, they were walking around poking the bodies and then it's alive underneath there.
Okay.
So then they put me on a medevac chopper. Then we got shot down leaving the base. So then they had to bring in another one, secure the area, bring in another one, get us out.
Yeah.
So I don't remember any of that. That was all told to me.
Yeah.
I was out.
Yeah.
And I woke up, like I said, about 3 days later in that Vietnamese hospital, and I didn't feel so bad because the guy in the bed next to me stood up and got hit across the belly. He had 5 holes across his stomach.
Cool.
And never hit any vital organs. So they literally came in with a gun cleaning rod and gauze and ran it through him every day, just cracking the heel up.
Wow. Wow.
So I felt lucky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, wow.
So then finally, I got well enough. I had a cast on the wrist yet.
Yeah.
And they sent me back to Dao Tiang and didn't know what they were going to do with me. And by then, they'd replaced me on the team. And it was kind of ironic because the kid that replaced me on the team, Jerry Abernathy, he was from Alabama. He ended up being one of 9 out of that unit that survived Hamburger Hill.
Oh, really? Okay.
So a couple of years ago, when I was down in Alabama, I thought, well, I'm going to look him up,
Yeah.
I was 2 weeks too late. He died.
Oh.
So I went out and seen his. I put a beer on his headstone up in the cemetery.
So the detachment you're with ends up at Hamburger Hill.
Yep.
Okay. Where do they send you? They don't know what to do with you?
Yeah. They brought me back to headquarters battalion, and they didn't have anything I could do, so they put me in driving the lieutenant colonel, who was the battalion commander.
Okay.
Down to brigade, because brigade, they had an old plantation house that they used for brigade headquarters.
Yeah.
National River Plantation. So every morning at 5 o'clock, I'd have to take them down there and they'd do their racing, bring them back. And then once in a while, I'd have to run somewhere, and then at night, they, for the people that work the night shift up to midnight in the Tactical Operations Center, they would go down the little projector set up in the bunker where they could watch the first run movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would run the first run movies for them.
Okay.
And when Bullet came out with Steve McQueen, well, we reran that chase scene, about 9 times. I wanted to see that again. Well, it was like almost 5 o'clock before we got out of there.
Yeah.
We drank beer and stuff, all the time we were down there watching the movies. So, not to say I was inebriated, but I wasn't feeling any great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went and got the lieutenant colonel, and we're going down to brigade headquarters, and I always had to stick my arm through the steering wheel, can't hold it because the roads were like driving down a field.
Yeah.
So I'd always put my arm through there and then shift, And we had the top down and the windshield folded down, and I did it, and I looked up, and there was one of those 3-wheel Labrettas, because the villagers would come in and get the garbage from the mess halls, bring it out and feed it to their pigs and animals and stuff, and bring the empty cans back. Well, the cans were full, and I just got stopped. I just barely tapped it, but it was just enough for the 2 cans on the back, tipped under the hood, and it went like this. And Lieutenant Colonel, he was a G2 in the States, which is an intelligence officer.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean it facetiously, but one time I said, how does a G2 in the States end up where you are? Not meaning it facetiously, but he took it that way.
Okay.
Happy with me. So one is it looked like gravy dripping off his dress hat.
Oh.
See, I was 6'2", about 180 then.
Yeah.
But he was 6'5", and about 250. And so luckily I could outrun him. So he was going to give me a beating after that.
Okay.
So after that, I was done.
Yeah.
No more driving.
Yeah.
You have no duty till that cast comes off. As soon as the cast comes off, they put me on convoy with the guy from Missouri.
Yeah.
So convoy security, I guess you call it.
So, I mean, life is weird for you, right? You go from in the jungle, literally, snake eating and elephant too. But then you're wounded the second time. You come back. Now you got pretty cake duty, right? You're driving a light colonel down the road. You're running the film thing, and then you dump some garbage on them. Which happens, right?
Yep.
Light colonel's got to lighten up a
Yep.
bit. And so now you're waiting to recover because you're still on a cast.
Yep. Still have a cast on the left hand.
Okay. And then it's off to convoy.
Yeah. Once that cast came out, the lieutenant colonel didn't want to see me again.
Okay.
Ever.
Yeah.
So I was on convoy security basically 7 days a week.
Okay.
I got in Sunday afternoon. I'd leave Monday morning.
He just kept you running.
Yeah, kept me running. And like I said, he hooked me up with this guy from Missouri. And I really felt bad after Vietnam because Kenny came from the heavy Baptist Bible Belt area down there. So he didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't swear, and then he was
So he's a perfect partner for you.
very clean cut kid. And 6 months later, when he rotated back, he was drinking about a pint to a quart a day.
Yeah.
Smoked at least a pack and a half of cigarettes and talked like a sailor. So,
Yeah.
plus we used to frequent a lot of the places in Saigon, so he sampled most of the local girls with me.
So convoy duty is a different world, right? It's taking you to different bases. It's connecting you with different people.
Yeah.
I'd imagine, knowing now your history, it's creating new adventures for you. You're probably finding new ways to get in trouble.
Well, after the first day, I told Katie, I said, this is stupid going with the convoy at 30 miles an hour and sit and duck.
Yeah.
I said, we're gonna hang back, be the last one out the game, because there was 2 roads you could take about a mile and a half out of Dautier.
Okay.
That would take you to Highway 1, which would take you down to Cucci and then out to Saigon and Ban One.
Yeah.
So we'd hang back, be the last vehicle, and the convoy went this way, and we went the other way. And then it was 60, 65, whatever that old loose snap would do,
Because everybody knew which way, if the enemy's going to attack, it knew they took a left or a right, right? Then they set up their ambushes and everything. So you figure, well, screw that. We'll just, are you hauling stuff in your deuce and a half then? Or
Not down, but on the way back.
Okay.
We brought supplies, different supplies back. Sometimes, ammo and parts, but usually it was stuff for the PX.
Yeah.
Electronic recorders, cigarettes.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Yeah. Yep. So you're picking up the class 6 and
the officers got the alcohol and what's got the beer.
Yep.
So we always had to abscond with some alcohol, keep my enlisted friends happy.
You got to keep the maintenance department happy. There's a lot of hands that you gotta take care of.
The old E6 that was the motor pool sergeant, he liked his brandy.
Yeah.
And first sergeant top, he liked cognac, so I kept those boys supplied, and I never had guard duty, never had nothing.
Just had to run those convoys.
On those
There's a deuce and a half. So I did convoy in Iraq. There's a deuce and a half. Does it have a gunner's hatch on top, or are you sure?
No, it's got a canvas roof. It's like a truck,
Yeah.
And we had a Connex that was tied down in the back of the box that we loaded everything in, metallic.
Yeah.
And there was about 4 feet between the canvas cab and the Connex. So after the first trip down there, we welded a truck rim to the floor plate.
Yeah.
And we started out with a 60 caliber on there that I scrounged.
It's found.
Yeah.
You'll find those things.
Yeah. And then we graduated up to a 50 caliber.
Yeah.
And then we had a Cobra gunship crash at Dautiang, so we started with a lot of the miniguns out there. But we could never get that to work because, the doesn't have a 24-volt system on it, and that's what it took to run that minigun. We could never get it to fire consistently, so we thought we ain't going to try that.
Yeah.
Before we put it on the new snap, we put it on a Jeep we had, and it fired like, I don't know, probably 100 rounds out.
Yep.
And then I realized that I was sideways to the Jeep, blew the Jeep right over. The back glass up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God we were driving. I was just sitting there. I swung around. Over the Jeep went, and he said, well, this ain't going to work.
Well, those Jeeps had that narrow wheelbase, right? They were built to flip anyway.
Yeah, they were top heavy.
Yeah.
Would have been for the E6 motor pool sergeant. We never got through any of this. He liked this brandy, so
you liked this brandy, and you wanted a better protected deuce in it.
So yeah, we tried it on the deuce now, but we never get it to fire consistently. So with the 50 bag.
Okay, you trade somebody, or you go to supply and be like, I accidentally found this minigun.
Yeah. Yeah, we turned it back in.
Yep, this fell off a truck.
Yeah. So, like I said, we always ran the roads, and one time we used to trade off. I'd drive and Kenny'd be on the gun, or Kenny'd drive and I'd be on the gun.
Yeah.
Then I had my flak jacket hanging over the door where, Truland 60, 65.
Yeah.
All over the road, just hammering it.
When I got in some of the old deuce and a halves, as well as that one was goofy. First was down,
Yeah.
right? First was down where you'd normally go up. And so some of the old deuce and a halves are still around. It's the first bigger vehicle I was trained. It has no suspension.
No.
The seat is not the spring-loaded seat.
No.
It is a steel bar with a little pad on it.
Yeah.
And your fillings are coming out every time you hit a bump. So I can't imagine 65.
That's it. I mean, in 6 months, we shook every piece of glass out of that thing. we go through a couple tires a trip.
Yeah.
So I had a guy that could alter your card, your military card.
Yeah.
So he made me a captain's. Then I got some captain bars and I put them on. And what we couldn't requisition or scrounge, I would go in and requisition for the DAV because you had to be a lieutenant or higher.
Yeah. Then you don't go as lieutenant. You ask the questions, lieutenant.
You go as a captain.
That's good thinking.
So they're probably still looking for that captain mark.
He signed for so much stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, the property books. Never figured them.
But, I kept like the motor pool sergeant. I kept him in tires, truck parts, and batteries, you name it.
Well, I had a theory when I was young. And because we'd see this stuff, I was running constantly on these convoys. Guys who weren't running, but were with the colonel, had the nicest stuff, but they were never on the roads.
Yep.
And my theory was it belonged to the Army. I belonged to the Army, and the truck I was on belonged to the Army. So at no point was I stealing, but I did cross-level a lot of stuff from one Army thing to another. It all stayed in the Army.
I learned that from radar.
Yeah. That, and if you wanted to get away with it, you didn't hide.
Nope.
You walked right in, you stole what you needed, and you walked right past the guy who was supposed to stop you from stealing.
Exactly.
Give him a head nod and a walk. I'm glad to see that some things are timeless. Like, it was the guys who were slinking around that got busted. Yeah, because they look like they're up to no good. But me, Joe Nobody, walks right past the guy, grabs the thing and walks out. Obviously, I'm doing the right thing.
We never got questioned once.
Yeah.
Even when I got an truckload of cigarettes, we never got questioned at all.
You ended up with an extra truckload of cigarettes.
Yeah, we loaded. It was right. We got done to the Vietnamese, dock workers.
Yeah.
And they loaded us with 22,000 cartons of cigarettes on the truck.
Most.
And it was right at noon, and the guys had to take their lunch break.
Yeah.
And smoke their opium pipes.
Yeah.
So they got us loaded, and they sat down to have their lunch and smoke their opium. And I said, well, we might as well close things up and go, we're done.
Yeah.
Then we got out of the gate, and then I said, oh, they didn't take our paperwork in. So we still had our requisitions. Like, they said, oh, where are you getting in trouble now? I have a load out here with no paperwork in it. I said, don't worry about it. We went out to Tudo Street, which was the black market area.
Yeah.
The Saigon. Sold the whole truck. Went right back and loaded on the same invoice.
Yeah.
Took it up to the state NTX. Nobody ever was wise.
Never.
But we got all paid in Vietnamese currency if you asked her.
Yeah. So
I had like a sack full of money, because the rate of exchange was like 105 to 1 or something, So we used that money to subsidize our nights in Saigon.
Yeah.
Because we always got an extra night in Saigon by running the roads, because convoys would always go in Dao Tiang and Cu Chi, stay overnight, Cu Chi in the Saigon long bed. While we were down there 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
So we had an extra day to kill every time we went that road.
Yeah.
And so we had to do something.
Yes.
You couldn't get bored. So.
Oh.
Yeah, old Papa's on my buddy Kenny it was kind of ironic because back in them days, when somebody rotated back that had a scout dog, they didn't dispose at the end. They just, anybody wanted,
Yeah.
So Kenny took that dog, and it was called him Bear because he was a cross between a German Shepherd and a St. Bernard. And first time we went to the Dao, which was the newest hotel, like, was a 4-story ranch style. If you walked out of your room, there was an open courtyard down there.
Yeah.
Well, we went there and they come in with bearing, and Papa said, no, dog number 10. Kenny gave him to come in, and dog put his paws on Papa's son's shoulder, had his face right here. And I was, oh, dog number 1, no problem. Kenny said, I was hoping I didn't have to have him eat you. So after that, we had free reign of the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, Papa San was getting the girls in, and we were there sleepily enough, he'd let us educate.
Okay. Okay. So your world has really changed now.
Yeah.
Now you're selling loads of cigarettes and
Having a good time.
yep. Coming to the end of your time. There's you do a year. Is it?
I was there 15 months.
Okay, so you're longer than like a draftee would.
Yeah, I was supposed to stay 18 months, but I never retired.
Okay. But then you did all that training.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So it did pay off. It was a good strategy. Is Kenny right? Is he
Yep,
he had longer, or are you guys about the same time leaving, or?
No, he was there before me,
Okay.
and then he left. I had, I think, a month. Well, I should have been rotating back or get discharged 3 days after him.
Okay.
But again, my friend, the Lieutenant Colonel, thought he would teach me lessons, so he extended me 30 days, saying I was critical to the war effort.
Well, it sounds like you.
Yeah.
You kept things running.
So I didn't get to run the convoy though. I got sent up to Tate Inn because they were moving the Tactical Operations Center, closing down King Down.
Okay.
So he gave me a 1-bob, a chainsaw, and a level, and it's two of the biggest idiots in the unit. And he said, I want this Tactical Operations Center up in a month.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we worked long. I mean, sun up to sundown.
Are you? What rank are you at this point?
I'm still at Spec 4.
Okay.
I never got promoted the whole time I was over there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I never was with a U.S. unit when it was Lieutenant Colonel Lynn Lightning, so I never.
Yeah. I suppose you're off the books on the border.
The colonel of the 36th Army Rangers put me in it for a direct commission to warrant officer.
Yeah.
Because I was serving in a second lieutenant spot.
Yeah.
But that never ran process.
Yeah.
That got shoveled off somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I was a Spec 4, and I was actually a sergeant before I left the States, and then I got busted going. And then they got my rank back. I got busted to a PFC.
Yeah.
In an unrelated military thing. It was an off-post
Okay.
issue.
Yeah.
But I got busted down to PFC, so I got Spec 4 going over and never got promoted again.
I could have guessed that by the way you got things done. The E4 Mafia, that I don't know if it existed then, but they insisted. And those are the ones who actually get things done. When your supply sergeant needs tires, you don't call a captain, you don't call a light colonel. You find a good Spec 4 and tires show up. That's just how it works.
Yep.
So you got to go these 30 days with the two big dumb idiots.
Yep.
And then you finally get to leave?
Yeah, because then the engineer unit finally showed up after I got it all built. And I mean, we built it like 14 by 14 inch pillars.
Yeah.
Cross braced, PVC, sandbag, the whole thing. And the engineers finally showed up and they said, "Oh, you got it done?" And I said, "Well, yeah." Well, they took shots, and on 60 feet, I was a quarter of an inch off one at the other.
Okay. So they tear it down?
Nope. So that's better than we do with electronic equipment.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. So you use some of that farm engine.
Yep.
That's how you got that built. Time to rotate home. But you're not going to rotate home, right?
No, I took an overseas discharge.
So you're discharged in Vietnam?
Yep.
Okay.
Then they flew me to Australia, and then they were done with it.
What, Australia, how is that?
Well, I took my R&R and a 7-day leave down to Australia.
Okay.
And there was a gal that worked as Chamber of Commerce. When you first come in, they said, this is your room assignment. This is where you can go, where you shouldn't go.
Yeah.
It's kind of an informational thing. And we and her just hit it off, and so I spent sometime with her on my R&R. When I went down there for a 7-day leave, she took the whole week off. Then we traveled around Sydney.
Yeah.
Well, and with the lieutenant colonel extending me to 30 days, there was kind of screwed things up with the mail wasn't real good back then.
Yeah.
So I sent her a letter saying, I'm going to be 30 days late. Well, what happened is I didn't realize she was a senior in high school. Their school year and summer and winter are opposite ours. So she was on summer break when I was down there.
Okay.
And then she never got my letter, and then she moved back home to finish her senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Of course, I was only 19.
Yes. Yeah, you're a young guy.
She was 17, so that was a big deal.
Yeah.
I spent 2.5 months looking for her, and nobody knew where she went or what happened to her.
Wow.
It was just, it was a dilemma. And my dad hadn't been home for a couple of years, and my dad kept pestering me to come home. It was costing like $60 a minute to all me
Yeah.
back in this bitch. Because I thought I better not, let him call too many times, man will be broke.
Yeah.
So I finally thought, well, he said, just come home and you can go back. Well,
yeah. Well, let's take a break right there. We'll come back for a second segment where we're going to talk about bringing you home from Australia and then bringing yourself home from Vietnam, what that was like, and some of the struggles and the realities of that. And then we'll wrap it up there. So,
all right, super.
We'll tune back in here for segment 2. Back for segment 2. I'm still joined by Other Martin. Other, when we left segment 1, we left you in Australia. You couldn't find the girl who brought you to the southern hemisphere. You're headed back to the States. Your dad would like you to come visit. So you're flying back to the U.S. What's that look like? What's the experience like coming back to the U.S. for the first time? Almost year and a half.
Well, the surprising part about it, in Vietnam, you never heard about the protests back here.
Yeah.
And even in Australia, there wasn't a lot of news about stuff, So to save money, I put my uniform back on a military flight from Sydney to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Well, the military planes landed at the same place as the commercial aircraft.
Yeah.
So you had to walk through the same terminal to get out of there.
Yeah.
And I felt safer in Vietnam than I did walking across that terminal.
Yeah.
So luckily, I got out the front door, and there was a gentleman cab driver that was retired military, and he seen all the crap I was going through. He figured I was going to kill somebody if I didn't get out of there. So
yeah,
he said, "Come on, get over here in my cab." So we drove off, and he said, "Where do you want to go?" And I said, "Well, I got a grandmother that lives, in Menlo Park, California, on Embarcadero Road." But I said, "I've been there since I was 10 years old." So I said, "I have no idea, where it is." He said, "Oh, we'll find it." So we drove up and down Embarcadero Road for, probably half an hour. And I said, "Oh, I think that was the house back there." And this is like a Thursday afternoon,
Yeah.
And so I said, "Just pull over at the corner. I'll walk back there." And I tried to pay him. He wouldn't take the money.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking back, with a suitcase and my uniform on. People are coming out of the houses yelling at me, trying to spit at me, throw things at me.
Yeah.
So I was lucky my grandma's house was only 3 down because I got in there.
Yeah.
She opened the door for me too. So that's the first thing she did. She said, "We're going to get you some civilian clothes.
Yeah.
Get you out of that uniform."
Yeah.
And so we got some civilian clothes, and I spent 2-3 days with her, and then I flew back home and then never got out of there.
Yeah.
When I got back, I had a girlfriend before I left, and she was orphaned her dad died at 4, her mother died at 14, so she was raised by her sister, and my family kind of felt sorry for her, so they kind of took her under their wing. And we didn't have a lot in common, and so when I got off the plane, it was kind of ironic too, because when I got into Minneapolis, I'm sitting on the plane and the stewardess says, "We're not going anywhere else. You have to get off." Because I sat on there till everybody's off. I had second thoughts about even getting off.
Yeah.
So I walk off the plane, and there's my mom, my dad, my 3 sisters, and Susan.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, shit. So, everything was fine for 6 months. If you're happy,
Yeah.
you're out of there,
there's that
everybody's
euphoria.
being nice to you,
Yeah.
And then they already had the wedding planned.
Okay.
So I got back in May and got married in August.
Okay.
And I spent about 8 years working 100 hours a week just to stay away from my wife.
Yeah.
Because she was nice. I mean, it was like being married to your sister.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. That's relate to it. I'm still good friends with her. We go out and have lunch every once in a while and stuff. And but after 8 years, I said there's got to be something better to this.
Yeah.
And that's when I met my second wife now.
Yeah.
She was a Montana girl, so she didn't expect much.
So what is that like? I mean, you get that, you're 3.5 months in Australia. So, we talk a lot about decompression. Like even though you went from more of that extreme in the jungle to the convoy, there's still culture shocks, right? There's still things that stick with you that you didn't know at the time were going to stick with you. You get to decompress a little bit and kind of almost preoccupied probably with your search in Australia. You're back home, everything's a whirlwind. There's no shotgun, but there's a shotgun wedding. How is that adjustment period? How is that, you dive into work. That was
the biggest problem was when I came back, nobody hired me.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran into that situation. We had big companies like 3M and stuff. There was no veterans preference back then.
No.
If you were a veteran, they didn't want you.
Yeah.
They figured you were a trained killer, especially me with the special ops.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they got the records because I could never find my records. But nobody'd hire me. And it was luckily, I took over my dad's farming operation and started milking cows. And, that didn't pay very well, so I had to take a second job. And luckily, an old World War II vet, Felix Rowan, managed the liquor store in Glencoe.
Yeah.
And he felt, an obligation to give me a job. So I worked there, 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
And which helped me with my post-traumatic stress, because after 3 years of working there, I had to quit before I killed somebody.
Yeah.
People would just say something wrong and set me off and over the bar, beat them down, throw them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Glencoe PD used to come in at midnight and escort the bartender down to the bank to make the deposit.
Yeah.
After the first week, they said, "You don't need us." They never even came in after that.
Yeah.
They'd drive by, and if somebody was laying out on the lawn, they'd either take them to the hospital or to jail. So
Yeah.
I had a good rapport with them.
But it's a tough adjustment,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah, and it was just stupid. Just something totally unrelated set you off.
oh yeah, yeah.
Just totally.
And I remember from my experience, vastly different from yours, but I do remember the culture shock of all of the stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get back from where it's austere, from where you're eating rice, from seeing people with very little and the locals and stuff, and then you get back to the States and there's just so much crap, right? And that almost puts you on edge just in itself, that huge cultural shift. And then almost anything can really set you over the edge, and it's hard to deal with. So you find different ways to cope. Not all of them healthy.
Plus, I was living on about 4 hours of sleep a day.
Yeah.
Because I had 105 head of milk cows. I farmed 390 acres and worked full time basically there. So the only day I had to sleep was Sunday.
Yeah. When you come back, do you ever learn how to land a plane?
I did. I finally, in 1975.
Okay.
Well, actually, when I quit the liquor store,
Yeah.
I had to find something else to do. And my brother-in-law was talking. He farmed like 3,000 acres, and he said, "I got to figure out some way of getting somebody to spray my crops because he said these ground guys can't keep up and stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, well, let's get a helicopter, and I said, I'll go back to flight school and learn how to land. And I said, well, we'll spray.
Yeah.
We'll spray here. Well, it started out spraying his, and of course, if you knew my brother-in-law, if one was good, 4 or 5 would be better. You know?
Yeah.
That was his terminology, you know. So instead of sticking with the old G5 reman bell, he had to go out and buy 2 500C fuses, $500,000 a piece.
Okay.
So then we had to build our own spray gear because they didn't have anything that would apply at 120 miles an hour. They were even set up for 60 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we spent one whole winter making it work.
Yeah.
And then by having that capacity, we had trucks set up where we'd land right on top of the truck and fill everything from the bottom. About 14 seconds, we'd have enough to get out again.
Wow.
And so we could do 3,000-4,000 acres.
So you're hiring out to spray then? You're established a spraying operation.
Yeah. So we had to do more than his.
Yeah.
Which then started. We had to go all the way down to Texas.
Okay.
And work our way up in the summertime, up to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then in the fall of the year, we had all the potato fields up by Big Lake in Monticello.
Yeah.
So actually during the summer, we had to spray them every week for blight.
Yeah. So I mean, spraying is intense work, right? It's fast. There's power lines. You're moving. Are you drawn to the adrenaline of it? Is that
it was a rush.
Yeah. From
going 3 feet off the ground at 120.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was used to that.
Yeah. So. Yeah. That's right. So.
In fact, one of our pilots was so low up spraying potatoes, jackrabbit came through the bottom of the bubble. And he almost crashed and got into the rudders.
Wow. Yeah.
But he was crazier than I was. He used to be out there.
But that drawn to a little bit of that recklessness, I think, is a common theme.
Plus, I just spent 7 years winning every demolition derby in the area. I mean, that was my release every summer. I'd won 4 or 5 demo derbies.
Yeah.
And I always take the last guy head on.
Yeah.
Usually at 60 if I could. And so up until about the mid-90s, after I quit running, they took out the no head-on collisions, and then they went to the welded-up cars.
Yeah.
They had no head-on collisions there when I quit because, I had the aircraft, harness in there.
Yeah.
So I didn't move, but the other guy had a little seat belt on. He almost went through the steering wheel.
Yeah.
So just about everybody I ended up beating went to the hospital.
Jeez. So you find those releases, though, right? Yeah.
But it was crazy. It's like I said, that mentality. It's the difference that I die today or die tomorrow. It stays with you.
It stays with you.
I still got it. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So you end up with the second marriage.
Yeah.
Still with her, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Montana girl.
Yep.
Do you spray for a while? Like, what's that progression look like?
Well, we sprayed until through 76 because we just couldn't make enough money because it cost too much to keep those turbo choppers in the air, plus make the payments on, plus our insurance bill was like $107,000 on those 2 choppers. That was for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Liability insurance, so it just wasn't in the cards. So we got rid of them, and it was kind of ironic because Howard Hughes came out the year before because nobody ever used the 500C, which was a load choker now.
Yeah.
For spraying. So he wanted to see it in operation. So he came out with his entourage, and the steward took pictures of everything, and then he called us back and he said, I will pay for a brand new paint job on your helicopter and on your truck and pay all your expenses for you and up to 6 people who come out to Las Vegas for the aerial applicators convention to show what you got. Well, being dumb farmers, we don't know no better. So we hauled the chopper out there, and it's a 4-blade system, so we got to take 2 blades off to tow it. So we have to get an A&E after we put the 2 blades back on. And I fired it up, set it on top of the truck, and drove it into the MGM Grand because the door was big enough to get the whole thing in there. So we did the whole aerial applicators thing, and then the next year Hughes came out with our truck design and our spray gear design in their catalog.
Oh.
But they were smart. They patented it.
They patented it.
We didn't.
Yeah.
So when we quit, we couldn't even sell the gear we had.
Oh, man.
So that's how you get robbed and you don't even realize.
Yeah. Yeah. He saw you coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to farming? Do you move into other business ventures?
No, I didn't know what I was going to do, so I partnered up with a guy out in Lake Marion here. He had the ballroom, and I had been in the bar business before.
Yeah.
And so I built a supper club out there.
Yeah.
It was a time when supper clubs were big,
Yeah.
And I had a tremendous chef. He was a Juilliard graduate.
Okay.
He actually worked at the VFW in St. Paul as a chef there, and I hired him away.
Okay.
But I didn't want to lay out any more money than I had to. So Roy, my partner, said, "I'll provide the land. You build a building, and then you give me 10% of your net profits for using that land."
Yeah.
Which I thought was a good deal. I didn't have to buy the land, It cost me $150,000 to build the building.
Yeah.
And so we get that done, and 9 months later, then Roy comes to me and he says, "Well, I got a buyer for the whole works." And I said, "Well, I don't want to sell." Well, he said, "Well, then you're going to have to move it off." And I said, "Well, I got to move it off."
Yeah.
So I ended up selling it. I mean, I paid for everything in that building: construction, the equipment, the stainless steel kitchen stuff. In 9 months, and I walked out there with $90,000 profit.
Okay.
If I'd stayed in there, it was a $100,000 a year deal.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. So you're learning some business lessons the hard way.
Yeah. So then that's when I went back to school because I thought I wasn't smart enough.
Yeah.
Went back on a GI Bill and got my accounting degree and my sales and marketing degree, and I drove truck at nights.
Yeah.
For Q Petroleum down in cities. And then after I graduated, I thought, well, I got to do something. So I bought tankers, trucks, and it was kind of ironic because I had an older Jewish gentleman that just by happen chance on a Sunday, I was unloading at a gas station in St. Louis Park, and he walked up and said, "What you doing?" And I told him, I said, I brokered this fuel. I said, I buy it and then resell it. I said, the money's in that, not in the trucking.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I said, I'd like to buy more, but I said I can only get $100,000 at a time financed.
Yeah.
And at the time, fuel was like 50-some cents a gallon, on the spot market. And he said, well, stop by. Give me his address. He said, stop by when you get time. He said, I went to his house, and he says, how about if I give you $500,000 at a time? And you just pay me back every Friday before he goes. Saturday was the Sabbath, so every Friday I'd take a sack of cash down to him, and we just kept rotating for 6 years.
Wow!
I mean, I was making $300,000-$400,000 a year, plus giving him the money. So he was happy, I was happy.
Yeah.
And then my brother-in-law, the same one that helped me out, with the crop dusting, kind of fell on hard times, and they were losing everything. So I shut everything down in the cities, moved it out to my brother-in-law's farm, and I set up Stewart Energy, what's called.
Okay.
Land spreading, because I had all the contacts with the pollution control people. So I went to my old buddy Dick Cable down there at the Minnesota Pollution Control and said, can we get this done? Oh yeah. So then we land spread like $2 million worth on my brother-in-law's farm. Save everything and pay for it. And I made the mistake again of giving him and my nephew equal shares.
Yeah.
So I came one day and they voted me out of my own company.
Oh.
So I walked out of there with $50,000.
Yeah.
$2 million.
Wow.
So, but then it was put to good use because the same day I met two guys from Aiken that were trying to make a thermal oxidizer work down in Belle Plaine. So I gave them the $50,000 and I said I want to be a partner.
Yep.
And we did that till '96.
Okay, so that worked out for you.
Yep.
Well, that's good. You just kept trying.
Yeah,
New things, new ventures.
Yeah, 96, and I went stupid enough and went and bought trucks again.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, other than the one job where I got hired to work nights at the liquor store in the city of Glencoe, nobody ever else would hire me.
So you created your own opportunities. Yeah.
I've been an entrepreneur all my life.
Yeah, that's terrific. During that time, do you find ways to bring in veterans when you needed help? Or?
Yeah, I usually tried to hire anybody that applied for truck driving, bartending, whatever.
Yeah.
Waitressing. I tried to hire veterans first.
Yeah.
Because I know how I was shit on.
Yeah. So, and then at some point, you probably become aware of the benefits, right? The VA benefits.
Well, it was funny because 1970, I went into the VA, applied under this traumatic brain injury, the skull fracture.
Yeah.
And since 1970, they always treated me. They always gave me medicines. They did all the surgeries on me. Never got a bill for anything.
Yeah.
I never got any disability because said you got no records. You can't find the records.
So they give you the treatment, they give you the care, they concede you're eligible for the care, which usually requires some sort of military record. But they won't compensate. They won't admit to the injuries. Okay.
Right. So that went on from 1970 until 81, and 81 I started having some more issues with the head trauma.
Yeah.
And I spent 3.5 weeks in the hospital at the VA, Minneapolis VA, the old Minneapolis VA. I had the trucking company. I had two of my drivers come down with the semi, carried me out of there, put me in the sleeper, and brought me back to the Hutch Hospital because I said, if I stay here, they're going to kill me.
Yeah. And
I never went back
to
the VA until 2007 when it started acting up again.
Okay. So there's 26 years of just, I'm going to stay away from that system.
Yeah.
During this time, when you go back, do you start the benefits fight again? Have you been?
Yeah. I started out with Shane Lieberman.
Yeah.
He was in the state at that time. And
with the DAV.
Yeah, with the DAV. And he tried everything. He couldn't find records. He tried everything.
Yeah.
Well, then he left and went to D.C., so then I got handed off to John Retzer.
Yeah.
John Retzer got me disability for my hearing loss, because I got hearing aids in both ears.
Yeah.
I had a shattered eardrum. But that was only 30%.
Yeah.
So then when John left, then I got Mike Medhog. And no, actually I got Charles in there in between. Then after Charles, I got Mike. And then after Mike, I got John Baxley.
Yeah.
And then I got Alex. And then I got Melissa.
Yeah.
And Melissa was just transitioning out back to nursing when she found my medevac records.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about this during the break, that I had a similar case where morning reports. So if files are lost, or in your case, classified, but commanders have to send these updates when they're in a combat zone, and it's a morning report. It's here's the status, here's the casualty list, here's we need fuel, we need water, we lost 5 guys, we have 7 medevac, whatever it might be, and these are just normal transmissions that are sent up to higher headquarters. They're compiled, transmitted again, so they often create the record where other records aren't.
It was ironic too, because I was with the Vietnamese unit, so I really didn't have any military insignias, no ID cards, nothing.
Yeah.
But they had my name listed as a medevac.
Yeah. Yeah. That morning report.
Somebody must have told them who I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was ironic because what actually started this all off was after Shane was out, in D.C., I went out there, I suppose that's been 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
I went out there for the midwinter conference, and I seen Shane, and I couldn't believe he remembered me. It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
And he said, I know what's wrong. I said, with me or what? He said, no, with your records. He said, I got it figured out finally. So he took me up to Amy Klobuchar's office and explained to her what the whole deal was. And that was in end of February. On Memorial Day, she personally brought my records out to me.
Wow.
Stewart.
Yeah. So you finally got a copy of your records.
Yeah.
Does that have some of this documented in it?
Well, everything was documented, but it was crazy because it had documented where in my body I was injured.
Yeah.
But it didn't say where I was.
Yeah.
That was all redacted.
Yeah, the locations are still redacted. Yeah.
So the location was all redacted.
Yeah.
But then that's when Alex started actually that claim.
Yeah.
And then he passed it on to Melissa, and then Melissa found the key point was medevac.
The medevac.
And then Charles actually finished it. And it was kind of crazy because I was out in D.C. that was last spring.
Yeah.
With Van Card. We landed. We were driving back out to Hutch, and I had like 9 missed calls on my phone.
Yeah.
From Charles and from Zach, Johnson.
Yeah.
See, it kind of helped Charles with it. Oh man! So I waited till I got out on the edge of the cities, out of the traffic, and I called Zach, and he says, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "Well, I'm driving." "Well, you better pull over." And I thought, "Oh, now what?"
Yeah.
And he said, "You better talk to Charles on this because it's kind of his thing." So I said, "All right." So I called Charles. Charles said the same thing. "Are you sitting down?" I said, "Well, I'm sitting alongside the road waiting for you to answer."
Yeah.
And he said, "You got your 100% permanent total claim."
Wow. And so is this in 24?
No, that was this year.
25. Okay.
Yeah. February. It was February 25, the end of February. Well, I actually got the first part of March.
Yeah.
Finally got my permanent total.
Did they have to go back a ways?
They went back to, I think, 2007.
Okay.
When I filed the last active claim.
Yeah.
I mean, I filed the first claim in 1970.
17 and a half years of back pay.
Yep.
I'm going to do quick math. I came from a gravel road.
204,000.
Yeah, but 55 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
From your initially being seen in the VA to them getting the paperwork right, to getting the award right. 55 years later, on the side of the road, you find out you finally won your money.
And the thing is, if I had gotten my Purple Hearts to start with, it made it a lot easier.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That concedes that the injury happened, that there's a record of it. Yeah.
So now, like I said, Amy's Klobuchar is taking it on herself to at least get me one.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's terrific. She's been a good friend to veterans, the PACT Act, a lot of the burn pit stuff. So I'm glad her office and she's been able to help you out. It's tragic that it took that long. That 55 years of fighting.
I didn't really. I wasn't really concerned as long as they kept treating me.
Yeah.
I had 21 surgeries over the years.
Yeah.
If I had to pay for all of them.
Well, and especially as an entrepreneur, as somebody who was starting small businesses and moving small businesses, that stuff could have been real bad.
Although it's funny, I had insurance on myself and my wife and kids.
Yeah. And
when I turned 60, I had a real estate company in town there. My insurance company, which was Fortis, was the biggest insurer at the time, said, "We're going to send out an RN to an in-house physical." Is that all right? I said, "Yeah, I don't care. All right." But I've been paying for 20-some years on that policy, and the nurse came out and did the physical, and then she said, "Have you been treated anywhere else?" And I said, "I said, well, the VA takes care of all this stuff for the VA." And she said, "Well, would you sign a release on that?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't care. I didn't think nothing of it."
Yeah.
Then I got a letter from the insurance company 2 weeks later that said I was canceled because I didn't disclose pre-existing conditions. Well, they never paid for any of that anyway.
Yeah.
It was just the way of getting rid of it. They kept my wife and the kids on.
Yeah.
They wouldn't keep me on.
Yeah, dirty bastards. Yeah. That's what insurance is set up to do.
So now, I mean, the VA is my only healthcare system.
Yeah.
And it's gotten a lot better, thank God.
Oh, good, yeah. During that time, and I know our interaction started because of the DAV. I think you're the chaplain. You start out as the chaplain. You end up the state commander of the DAV here in Hutchinson. You're a volunteer driver, right?
Correct.
You started this week with 3 consecutive runs to the U of M to help a fellow veteran get the treatment they needed, the medical procedures. It sounds like every time I call you, you're either preparing to go to volunteer somewhere, volunteering. You do the food packs. You brought some of that stuff down to the food pantry. I'm breaking you up a little bit here because I know you won't do it yourself, but you've been extremely involved here at the VFW that we're at. Your picture is on the wall. You're a big part of helping save this building and this community for veterans. All of that to ask, what role has that volunteerism, that giving back to veterans, what has that played in your process of coming home? Because it's never done. I don't think it's ever done for us.
Well, it's kind of ironic because for I suppose 14 years, I never said I was a veteran. Never. I mean, I was shunned so bad when I first came back. I thought I'm going to make this worse on myself.
Yeah. You don't have to whip this dog twice.
And then I think it was in must have been 90 sometime in the 90s. We had a local guy that did kind of video clips of the veterans.
Yeah.
And he wanted a World War II, a Korean, and a Vietnam vet to interview. And it was ironic. Well, I know when it happened because it was the same day as 9/11.
Yeah, okay.
Because we did the interviews in Stewart.
Yeah.
And, Paulie Myers was a World War II guy. He was a cook, never left the States. Frank Forsher, he was a Korean vet. He was in during Korea, never left the States.
Okay.
So I was the only combat vet.
Yeah, yep.
And we did our little segment on each war, and then we wrapped up and went out and turned the radio on, and they said that they hit the towers. And,
wow.
I mean, it was the same day.
It was kind of the first day you had started to say, you know what, I might be a little bit active in the veteran community.
Well, actually, Van Carr got me started in this because I was having such a problem with the disability stuff. He said, join the DAV, we'll get it taken care of for you.
Yeah.
He did.
He was right. It took a little while, but he was
I
right.
went through the Legion and the VF Friar and everything. I went through 4 or 5 county service officers that didn't know what they were doing.
Yep. Well, I'm glad we could get it done for you. Getting more active, getting more involved in the local DAV chapter, has that had benefits for you? Has that, have you felt that?
Well, after I joined the DAV, I started, me and Van Carr actually started the transportation program with one van. I mean, we were working 5-6 days a week. Besides our jobs, we were still working. And he was the one that inspired me to let's this is our way of giving back.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want current troops to be treated like we were.
Yeah.
In fact, when our guard unit got pulled up, when they came back, they went over as a group, came back as a group. We sat down with them, myself and 5 or 6 other combat vets too. We had all combat vets from Vietnam to give them an outlet to talk, because if I could have talked to anybody when I came back, it would have been so much easier.
Yeah.
Just tell your story and said, eat your way inside.
And there's a shared experience. It doesn't matter, and I've learned that through my engagement with veterans over the last decade. Era doesn't really matter. No,
the era doesn't make a difference. It's all the same.
There's a shared experience. I've been on outdoors trips with Vietnam vets who, I'm not crying. We're just driving in a boat, and they're opening up, telling me stories they haven't told in 50 years, and it's because they know they're talking to another combat vet. And I think that's amazing. The other part, especially like that, making sure when your unit came home. When I came home from my first tour of Iraq, left home 22 months later. I've done the longest combat tour since World War II. We land, and the Freedom Flight, as I'm leaving Iraq, lands in Bangor, Maine. And in Bangor, Maine, they have this amazing display where the locals line up and they welcome them home. And you know who made up the bulk of that crowd, right? It's the Vietnam veterans. They would not let us be treated like they were.
Yep.
that always really stuck with me as something powerful, because it would have been real easy to turn your backs, to have been bitter and not come back out and be like, well, we dealt with it, you deal with it. You know, there was some of that from earlier World War I, World War II, to the younger veterans, you know, as they came back. But instead, we were so embraced by their population. So I'm just incredibly grateful for that.
The Korean vets weren't as bad, but there was a lot of World War II vets. It was like, you know, we were a piece of shit when we came back.
Yeah.
But I mean, even in this club, like I said, when I took over as commander, I weeded them out because that's not how you treat vets.
No. And we've been so embraced. I had an opportunity during the speech to thank Vietnam veterans. And the trails that were blazed by your generation, the fact that we have burn pit legislation already, and we didn't have to fight for 30 years like Agent Orange did, is because that trail was blazed by the Vietnam veterans. And so just incredibly grateful for that, and incredibly grateful for your willingness to sit down and share it. I'd like to end, and I've done this with other interviews. If listening right now, there is a young troop or a younger veteran, maybe has been back for a while and struggling, maybe is just about to make their transition back after a long, 20 plus years, and most of that spent during active wartime. What advice would you give to them? What words of wisdom could you share that maybe would help them get through to them?
Well, first of all, be able to talk about your experiences.
Yeah.
If you can't, it'll eat you alive. Secondly, go to a veterans organization. I mean, the DAV is great, but there's other organizations out there that do a respectable job. Get involved with one of them, because you're getting involved with people that have been through it, people that can guide you, show you what to do, and rely. I never was one to rely on politicians, but some politicians are good.
Yeah.
So you have to rely on them.
Yeah.
That's the only way you get stuff done. But that's what I learned over the years the hard way.
Yeah.
And like I said, thank God here I'm 55 years out and I ain't killed anybody yet. So
there we are.
I'm doing good.
And I think they say successful people surround themselves with successful people. There are small pockets in your DAV, Legion, VFW of successful veterans who have navigated similar roads. Surround yourself with them. They've made it through. They can help guide you through too if you're struggling. So thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you sharing your story. And thank you to our listeners. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can follow us wherever you get your podcast, and subscribe. Share it out there. Let other people know about these kinds of stories.